Welcome back. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. And I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Today, I want to talk about these dogs in a way that I'm not here to label nobody, to label anything. I'm not here to diagnose you. I'm here to just talk about experience that I've gone through in my life and some things that I had to understand to be able to just find myself to be able to get into a better place. And I've noticed that a lot of this stuff correlates with what it is that we as humans are doing with these dogs that comes down to what dog training represents. And I'm going to talk about some things that, to me, is like shocking and strange. But at the same time, when I really sit down and think about it, I realize it's just, like, it makes sense. It has to work this way. And I want to talk about some key components here that I'm sitting here looking up some basic, real quick, fast research of stuff that I already know. And this stuff here is it's fascinating to me, of just being able to look this up. But my Google search, I'm just going to explain what my Google search is so that someone else can look up this same Google search to do a little bit of research on your own and start to wonder, start to question some things, especially if you are struggling with your dog right now. I'm not saying you are this, but the tips and techniques that you are getting from people to get your dog to work away is the main word I want to use is manipulation, but that word is just confusing to most folks today. But it's being and acting in a way that the one word I want to use here is being a narcissist. And you're trying to, for one, this is the part that I laugh there because it's fascinating to me. This is the part that if you're stumbling with trying to use treats and trying to use pressure and trying to do this stuff that you're not getting success, I'm going to say more than likely, like I'm not here to say anything and label anything, but congratulations, you're more likely not a narcissist. Because those are the techniques that they use to be able to get what they need to get done. And the first thing I want to talk about here is something that is very interesting. I don't know why and how I clicked on this one, but I clicked away to look at different stuff, but I clicked on it, I got stuck on it. But they want to make you feel special. So this is the start of dog training. You want to make your dog feel special, right? Treat. Fall in love with me. Fall in love with me because of what I'm doing here. I'm giving you this, I'm giving you toys, I'm giving you treats, I'm giving you praise, I'm giving you all this, I'm giving this to you, so you're gonna love me. What it happens here is you're not doing it in a way to actually give that dog its needs met. You're doing it in a way to get your own needs met. You're only caring about getting your own self what you want from that dog to do. So you want that dog to sit. You don't care if that's uncomfortable for the dog to do. You say, I want you to do it because I want you to do it. So here's a treat. This is cute. This is fun. This is exciting. This is neat. You know, you're going to really like me because of all this food I give you, because of all this praise that I give you, because of all this love that I give you. You are going to really like me. But that's not the way this world works, as far as what I would say is a more normal, natural way of living on this planet. You do not give extra praise because in the beginning, when you call it, it's called the love bombing. Oh, you're so amazing. You're so awesome. You're so great. You're the best of the best. No one out there is like you. You're the only one. You're the greatest of the greatest. You're coming in with all that language, not really meaning it in reality. This is the part where this is a confusing part, because if you're not a true narcissist to your core, you're doing this in a way of just doing it in a way that you're just thinking you're doing what's right. But what happens is you start to run into a situation that you start to fade that away because you can't possibly keep up with that. And that's what I hear with working with dogs a lot. Because this is the number one thing that I even say. How do I and when do I and which way am I able to fade away from all this love and affection, and the dog finally just does what it is that I'm looking for? And it doesn't work that way. It works in a way of giving that dog what it needs, and then that dog will give you what you need. And you'll be able to balance back and forth, not love bombing the dog and trying to manipulate the dog to do what it is that you're looking for. And it's fascinating because then we go into something next where this thing says they use shock, awe, and guilt, which is confusing and interesting that they use the word shock. Because like the next thing we do is we love bomb the dog to get the dog to be attached to us, but not attached to us in a healthy way, but attached to us in a way that we are controlling every little aspect of what that dog is capable of doing. So now, since we've got that dog there, now we got to come in with this level of pressure because the dog isn't 100% doing what it is that we're looking for. So here, it's just fascinating what they say here. It's when all comes over the top, emotionally charged tantrums that erupt when a friend has done something disappointing to the narcissist. So now when you've been love bombing this dog with treat, 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 praise, 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 I love you, I love you, I love you. Now, since the dog isn't maintaining that sit in, say, a public area, it'll sit in the house and it looks pretty. And it makes you feel good because it sits there. But when the dog doesn't sit or doesn't walk on a loose leash or doesn't walk a perfect heel, now when you go into public, now we got to do something here. Now we got to add a level of pressure to convince this dog to start listening to us. And that's where the said like balanced training of things start to come in. Now we're having to put that pressure to force that dog. You know, we're doing the treats, and then now we're doing the force. But you know what's interesting is in reality here, we're still doing both because that word of guilt. We're still doing treats because now I feel guilty. I feel bad. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forced him to sit. Look at him, he looks so sad. Give him a treat, he looks sad. Give him a treat, he looks sad because he's not walking directly. He's not walking perfectly with me. He walks ahead. I got to snap that leash and tell him to come back. Oh, he's sad. Let's give him a treat to build him back up again. So you're now balancing back and forth. You're literally balance training. You're balancing back and forth and playing with the emotions of an animal that we need not to be playing with like this. And anything in reality on this planet. We need not to play with these things that are going on. But it's fascinating because it's easy to do because a lot of us, unfortunately, are seeing this in our day-to-day. We're seeing it and we see it as being normal and natural. So we just adopt it. But what starts to happen is you start to get conflicting interests here if you are not a narcissist, because you're going to start to do some things that you do not feel comfortable with. And that's what I say is a God-sent blessing to let you know where it is that you should go next, because that's why you are not getting the said success that you're looking for, because it's not set up for success. It's set up for looks. It's set up to a TV show. It's set up for fake reality. It's not set up for real. And that's why you're not getting real results using fake ideas and concepts. And then what's interesting is, you know, it goes into gaslighting. I'm pretty sure everyone understands what that is. And if you don't, simply just, the dog is, I don't even want to talk about that right now. I just want to switch to the next part of it, because this is the part that gets, I'm going to say, dangerous that we're doing out here. And that's the concept of they start to play hot and cold games. Now, since you're seeing no results and or some results out of this dog, now you have to start to go to the extremes. Now you have to, when the dog is looking good, you have to like praise, 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 praise. You got to praise galore. But then when the dog is doing bad, now you got to, this is where you start to go into punishment like crazy. You start to punish that dog. You start to isolate that dog. You start to be a mean dictator to that dog, because the dog isn't performing the way that you want it to perform. You know, at house, it looks good. But when you're taking it out, why is it still barking at other dogs? So now you have to start playing these games of on the extremes. One extreme, I love you, you're the world's greatest thing, such as being at home. I love you, you're the world's greatest dog, but when you take the dog out in public and the dog is barking and doing what it's doing, I hate you. I can't stand you. I don't want to be nowhere near you. And then you go through that problem that, I'm going to say, I don't want to use that word, but I'm just going to use that word straight up. A normal person is going to feel bad and feel guilty about being so mean. So they're going to come back and like, oh, I got to hug on this dog and love this dog. And you start going through these loops. This is where you are destroying things around you. And you're destroying it in a way that you don't understand how to be able to keep up with, because there's no way to be able to keep up with it. You're headed for an impossible task here. You're headed to do something that is just, it's impossible. You're not going to be able to get anything or anybody to love you, appreciate you, care about you by playing games like this. By coming at it in a sense of, what can you do for me? I don't care about you. I don't care about you. This is why, for me, these dogs are a fascinating learning experience to be able to help us as humans be able to figure some things out. Because the most interesting thing about them is they have something inside that we have to offer to them. Especially, this is where it's extremely challenging today with most people with dogs, because the dogs have a purpose, but we don't have purpose for them. So since we don't have purpose for them, and since you just got a random dog, it's not like 50 years, I mean, even today, I wouldn't go buy myself a Yorkie needing to move my cows. That just doesn't make sense, right? Who would do that? Who does that? And if you're doing that, that's pretty impressive, I'll say. It's pretty fascinating. But I don't do that. I'm not going to go and buy a husky to move my chickens around. That's just, we don't do that. So the dogs that we have don't have a purpose. But the dogs that do have purpose, it's like clear as day of what my dogs need to do. Like this Pyrenees and like this Border Collie. The clear as day of what these dogs need to do. This is why it's fascinating with this Dalmatian that I have, because she's the one that doesn't have the initial work that she was made for. But then that's the part where I have to understand her needs and I have to meet her needs. She looks at me, she says, I gotta run. I gotta run. I don't know what it is with her, but she literally would just look at me. She's like, hey, buddy, we gonna run? We gonna run? We gonna do something? And I'm like, yeah, I could take you for a run. But someone could say, I don't like that. I don't do that. So I want to switch that to do something different. That's where you're coming in with that control and that manipulation. That's where that whole concept of the narcissism is starting to, you have to go that route, but you're not going to get full results because you're not caring about the needs of that animal. You're only caring about yourself, what you're looking for from that animal. And that's what's interesting. Like I can say for my border collie, for my Pyrenees here, that they are working for me. They do for me, but they're doing for me based on what their purpose is. And I'm not trying to change what their purpose is. I'm not flopping their roles to say, I need this border collie to sit here and guard and protect the land. That's not what he's supposed to do. Will he make sure that someone doesn't come on the patio? Yeah. But as far as like sitting with the baby chicks and sitting with the cows and making sure that nothing comes around them, that's not what he's supposed to do. So we're living in harmony because I'm giving him his needs by doing what it is that I want. But the biggest problem that's happened is you're not giving the dog its needs, and you're only wanting it to do what you want, and what you want is against the dog's needs. And that's where you have to come in with this manipulation. And nothing good is going to come out of manipulation. Nothing. Nothing positive is going to happen through manipulation. You are only and always going to stumble and fumble into more and more manipulation. You have to figure out how to double down, dig deep, get further into it. You're not going to get out of it. You're not going to get away from it. And that's the unfortunate thing that most people are happening with their dogs right now. I want my dog to do more without the first number one thing that we need to understand with these dogs is their needs met. Their needs need to be met. The understanding of what kind of dog you have and give that dog what it needs. And if you do not understand what I mean by giving your dog its needs, you need to feed the dog. You need to give the dog some water. You need to make sure the dog has some basic shelter. It can't be in a situation that it's in danger where it's living. It needs to be able to know that it's safe where it's at. The fundamentals. And then the dog needs an outlet to get its drives met. And I'm realizing, like, I almost thought for a little while, like my Pyrenees had no drive behind them to like chase or do, but all dogs have a desire to do something, to chase something, to guard something, to protect something, to hunt for something, I don't even know what else a lot of these dogs, to pull something, to climb something, to dig something up, to do something. They all have something that they need to do. And the dogs are very easy for us to, in reality, figure out what that something is. You literally put the dog on the leash and just take it and see what it's going to do. You're wondering, my dog is pulling on the leash. Yes, it's pulling for a reason. And you'll figure out what that reason is. And once you understand that reason, you fulfill that reason. Now the dog's like, I don't need to really pull and do that and go that mess. The dog has a need. And the dog is explaining it to us literally instantly by just putting the dog on a leash and just seeing what it does. Seeing what it does, but that's the first thing that we don't know. Oh, my dog's pulling. How do I stop that? As opposed to that dog is communicating something very, very powerful to you. And you're trying to shut that down. As soon as you shut that down, that's where you said, I don't care about your needs, buddy. You're doing what I want. And there you're losing, you're in a losing battle instantly right there. So that's the number one way that I would say is finding that needs of what that dog is desiring it needs to do. Get you a 20-foot leash, get outside, especially just get in the field and just stand there and see what the dog does. See where the dog goes. See what the dog starts to make happen. And just sit there for hours, day after day after day after, not 5 hours in one session, but day after day after day after day, figure out what this dog is looking for. And once you figure that out, you are going to be able to satisfy those needs. And then at that moment, we can start worrying about what it is that I want from this dog. Once you're able to satisfy all those things. And of course, there's more likely other things in there, but this is your foundation to get things started. For some reason, we're not starting the foundation that way. We're starting the foundation, sit. What is that for any dog on this planet? Sit, down, heel. I mean, in reality, a lot of these dogs that we're trying to convince to walk next to us, they're actually supposed to be ahead of us. So we're trying to work against their nature to force the dog to walk side by side with us. And that's just not what they're about. That's not what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to be with us. They're supposed to be ahead of us doing stuff. But we want to force it here. I want to force the German Shepherd to walk right by my side because that TV show and that that competition makes the dogs do that. As opposed to what heck do we use these German Shepherds for? Search work. The dog's not going to be an asset at all if it's walking next to my side. The dog needs to be ahead of me. And some of these dogs need to be far ahead of us to be able to make stuff happen. That's what's all about this dog. She needs to be a decent length ahead of me to be able to figure out what it is how to make sure that I can be able to keep on moving. So to convince her to just stay next to my side, that's so foreign to the dog. That should be the last thing we do with the dog. As opposed to what we're doing today is that being the first thing we do with the dog. And that's why we're struggling with getting the dogs to even consider to want to be with us. That's why you need more and more. You need more treats, you need more pressure, you need more manipulation. You need to keep pushing more and more and further into it. And that's why for me, I want to be able to figure out how to be able to get as many people away from that. And some of y'all, you're so far deep into it that your dog, what I'm gonna just straight up say, just doesn't trust you. It doesn't trust. One thing, trust is something that in reality with these dogs, we can gain that back pretty easily. It's the belief in you. The dog doesn't believe you anymore. The dog doesn't have any respect for you anymore. The dog it doesn't believe that you are going to be able to listen to it, get it what it needs, and be able to follow through. The dog is going to be in a situation that it's walking on the eggshells that narcissists love to do to people. That they put you in that situation that you are unsure. You are confused. Is this right? No, I'm not right. Is this right? No, I'm not right. So it takes a lot for them to start to believe in you again. And that takes time. That takes consistency. That takes the willingness to say, hey, buddy, I know I've been messing you up, not giving you what you need. So let me give you what you need. Because I said that for a while ago, months ago, this was neat about dogs, that you give them what you need, what they need, and then they want to give you everything back. And I got a little weary about that for half a second because I was working with this Dalmatian and I hit a stretch that was kind of like, man, she's still just not listening to me like the best of the best. She's still like very pushy. But I just didn't give her enough time, where each dog is different. Each dog is very different. A German Shepherd, I may be able to get it to believe in me in a day or two after me being ruthless to it for years. But each dog, that's what they are all about. They want to listen to us. They want to do for us. They want to give, because this dog here took a long time. This dog is over a year before he just finally would look at me and he's just like, you sure? You sure? I'm like, yeah, buddy, we're good. We're fine. Everything is okay. Because I was just playing that hot and cold game so much with him. And it started to get in me. It started to I couldn't handle that. And I started to realize something weird is going on here when I started to realize, like, I don't feel comfortable doing what it is that I'm doing. So if I don't feel comfortable doing what it is that I'm doing, I know a lot of other people don't feel comfortable. And you don't feel comfortable, you're not going to get any success at all in reality. You're going to end up nowhere. But in reality, you're already starting off with a system and a method that is not going to go anywhere. And that's why for me, I want a lot of people to just really have a good understanding of what it is that we're doing with these dogs. That once you do give them their needs and you give it to them, they want to please us. They want to come back and do anything for us. They will do anything for us once they're able to do and get out what they need to get done. They'll listen to us across the board. I don't need to battle. I mean, you're going to have little things where you're like, hey, get out of the kitchen. You got to say it twice or three times. Hey, come here, and you got to say it twice or three times. But you're not in a situation that the dog just doesn't do anymore. And that's what I've come to just realize with working with all of my dogs here. The thing about the Border Collie that is interesting, that maybe if I didn't have him doing the work that he's doing, that he might be giving me some more and more pushback. But he doesn't. I set him up to do what he needs to do, and he listens to 99% of stuff that I tell him to do. And then I've just gotten to the point now that the Dalmatian finally listens to me about 99% of what it is that I ask her to do. Because I just kept going with it. I kept going. I said, you know what? I'm going to be, what is the proper word to use? Selfless. I'm going to give to you. I want to see you be the best of the best. I want to give you everything possible. And don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about anything about me. Just, I want to help you out as much as absolute possible. Because once I really started doing this YouTube stuff, this is the part where I started to have conflicting interests. Because that's where I realized that's what I'm trying to do for people. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I want to help you get into a better place. I want to help you get good. And this is the part with the humans that's different. That the dog will give back to us. The human may or may not. And that is what it is. I don't care. But the main thing I've realized with the dogs is they give back to us. They want to listen to us. They want to be around us. They want to do for us. They want to just please us. But the main thing is it has to start with us doing that first to the dog. And it's going to seem and feel and portray to be like an inconvenience at first, a big inconvenience. Because what we're being told and being force fed to us is you can get what you want and you can get it now. And that's not real life. Real life is it takes time. Real life, it takes patience. Real life, it takes understanding. It takes kindness. It takes respect. It takes trust. It takes loving. It takes all of these to get what it is you're looking for. But a lot of what we're doing out here is we're wanting it, and someone else is showing us that we can get it fast without actually showing us the real long-term situation that's going on. We're looking at the short-term stuff to say, oh, that's what I want, as opposed to what's this long-term stuff? The long-term stuff here. That's what's fascinating about everything that I'll be able to just, I don't really like showing off, but I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. But more that I'll continue to keep on showing off with what it is that I do. It's the long-term stuff that I'm worried about here. I don't care about right now. Many of my videos, I get many of comments. Why is your dog still on leash? I'm not worried about getting her off leash today. I'm worried about in 5 years that I don't need to ever even worry about a leash with my dogs. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the right now. Could I make it away and be away right this second? Sure, I can manipulate it and convince it, put a show on to make it seem a certain way right now. But that's not what I'm about with what it is that I do. I understand this world in a way that if I am using, abusing, wanting everything for myself, I'm not going to have anything for myself in the future. I'll have it right now, but I'm not going to have anything later on. And that is not the way for an adult, even a child, even to live on this land. We're supposed to be here. Just my understanding, y'all. I don't care if you believe what I believe in and what I believe in and how I believe in it. But there's one core thing that pretty much everyone across the board kind of, for the most part, understands, is that we're supposed to be helping each other out. And if you are a person that does not actually truly care to help someone out, you're not going to be able to watch anything that I've ever been able to say in reality for more than 15 seconds. Because I'm talking straight to your core of not saying this, but saying this. You're wrong. Stop worrying about yourself and get out there and do something for someone else. That's the main thing that I'm constantly always over and over and over talking about. And then now, since I've really been pushing that hardcore with these dogs, getting away from punishment, getting away from reward, getting away from manipulation, getting away from being hot and cold, getting away from all of these things, I realized like, wow, this stuff is actually, it's beautiful is all that I can say. It's so peaceful. Like, I don't know. I'm not just like saying some stuff to say some stuff. Like, I'm living it. I'm living a life now that, like, I don't know what it is, but man, I shut a lot of my very, very first, I think my whole first years of videos I've taken down. But some of them I may just put right back up again so you can hear me talk to my dogs in these videos. Hear me talking to them over and over and over again, hostile with them even. I try my best to not, but it is what it is. And I'll just be hostile with everything. Hostile with like, get out of the room, get out of the kitchen, get off the bed, get off of me, stop jumping on me, stop licking me, stop chewing on me, stop this, stop messing with this, stop messing with that, to the point of today that it's just like, it's so calm because I decided to just take myself away from you better because, and I said, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And let me give you what you need to be able to make your life better. The way that I want to do, and not just wanting to, but saying that you want to, but actually doing. And that's what my big shift and change has been on just talking about dogs on YouTube. I do not want nothing from nobody. I want to help you. I want you to be able to get into a better place with your dog. And the only way that you're able to, in reality, get that is by giving, is by doing for something else and expecting nothing in return and continuously keep doing that. And time will tell when things will start to just be able to relax and be able to calm down for you. Each of my dogs have been different here. The Border Collie, he's just fast, man. Like the day that I forget what it was, but I wanted him to do something, and he just looked at me like, no. And I just say, you know what do you need? And I let him do it. He looked at me completely differently. And my Johnny, my big shepherd mixed thing dog here, it's taken him a year. My Pyrenees, it's taken him 2 years. over a year and a half, almost 2 years now. It's taken a Dalmatian months, 6, 7, 8 months. I've had her now at this point. It's taking months. This isn't some overnight because of what we were doing. And ever since I started, I don't even know where that dog's at. Ophi. She's super far away, so we'll see if she'll come. But I don't think she can hear me from this far away. Ophi! I don't even know what to do about that to help her get yeah, she can't hear me. I don't hear nothing. I don't think she can hear nothing from me. That's one thing I'll say is I'm gonna say this, but someone may not agree, but I get it. I believe that a dog that can barely see and a dog that can barely hear are actually better dogs because they're not so hard in the senses that they like. So for instance, a lot of dogs are scared because of noise. So if the dog is slightly deaf, the dog's not gonna be scared of a garbage truck. It's not gonna be scared of a plane. It's not gonna be scared of dogs barking at it. Because sometimes like the dogs will be barking at her from a good distance and I could just see she's staring at it like, what are you doing? Like she can't hear it. So it in reality can make some things easy in your life. Certain things that are just fascinating, the more I keep living on this land, I realize like said disabilities really aren't a worse problem. You might actually be doing better in reality, depending on the situation of how you look and view the world. But it's fascinating that it's not an overnight fix. That we're working on giving these dogs what they need, what they need, what they need, what they need. And for me, you know, at the end of the day, all I care about is calmness out here. As long as no chicks are running, chasing, getting bucking and clucking, there's no cows that are rampage running, there's no pig that's going crazy, there's no dogs that are fighting. I'm like, we're doing good right now. Because everything else is what I am okay with. You may not be okay with your dogs chewing stuff and grabbing things and chewing on sticks and running around with sticks. I don't care. That's where I'm going to say the individual differences are of us. For me, once I reach that calmness, that I don't need to worry, it's so easy now to work with these dogs. It's so easy to understand that when I see them do something, see them doing a dog thing, it's just like, oh, it's a dog doing a dog thing. Why would I get upset and try to punish you for that? It's easy. And when I don't have to punish, I don't have any issues. I don't have any problems. The dogs want to listen more. They want to be around me more. They want to care more about what's going on with me more. That's all that they're looking for. And it comes down to us supplying and giving their needs. If you're not worried about getting your dog set up for success with getting all of its needs met, I just don't understand right now why we have these dogs. That's the part with me that I've made videos and videos years ago of why have a dog and why have a pet dog if all we're doing is put it in a crate, isolating it from the world. That's another huge thing that narcissists love to do to people is to isolate them. They like to get you to get away from your family, get away from your friends, get away from your coworkers. And what is that we do with these dogs, right? Put them in a crate in the corner of the house. Isolate the dog. Get the dog away from everybody and everything. And the dog is only going to listen to me and only going to come out and perform for me. The stuff is like, it's so weird how it's like hand in hand and goes together. And then you wonder why you have like times that it looks good, but then times that it's just a disaster. And then you wonder why you have times that the dog now starts to become extremely anxiety ridden, extremely depressed looking, extremely anxious. It's just all these problems. Just anxious as all could be are what dogs are today. Fearful as all could be are what dogs are today. And what drives things to become fearful and anxious? It's what we really should like be asking those questions instead of how do I fix my anxious dog? No. Why the heck is a dog anxious in the first place? Who cares how to fix it? Because when you're trying to fix it, all you're going to do is make it worse. You're going to double down. And that's not what we... Man, that's a strong smell of perfume. That's the last thing that we should be doing is worrying about how to fix what I see right now. But figure out how to fix the whole thing of why we got here, why we're here. That's what I want more people to really just think about when it comes down to these dogs. Thank you. Hi. When do y'all go, Oreo? Go find Ophi. Go get her. Go get her. Go get her. Yep, go find that dog. No, that way. She's that way somewhere. I know she's not that way. Unless you did go up the driveway. Go find her for me. That's something I could train him to do is go find me. Go find my girl, bring her back to me. I was abusing all heck and be out of my dogs. Not so much as physically, as way more as emotionally. And for some reason, whatever reason, I saw it as being normal because in reality, straight up, that's how I was treated and been with a lot of people around me. Just abuse me, just use me. And I didn't see it because that was normal to me. And then now that I realize what I've been doing and getting away from, the more I realize like what truly being satisfied and content actually is. Not being anxious and worried and nervous and none of that, but just being chill. And being in a situation that it's like, this Dalmatian been gone. But for some reason, I trust that she's doing something right now. And I'm not nervous and worried. I don't know why. But I believe that that's what real life is all about. Is actually truly trusting things and not needing to be in control of it all, but knowing that you've done enough that everything is going to be all right. And when you have that sort of energy, it makes other things want to be way more closer to you, more and more closer. And it's something that is just an amazing experience to be around. That's why for me, I always see some people with their dogs. Just going to the park today, I've seen some people with their dogs, and I'm just like, y'all got such a great relationship together. And they're just walking. They're not like, if the dog goes over or does something, they're not like, no, stop that, don't do that. They're just, let's just walk. And I see something so amazing. So amazing. I don't see people that are dog training their dogs, taking their dogs out in public anymore. I used to. It used to be hostile. It used to be hostile out there. But I don't see that anymore. I see the people that are just enjoying their dogs out. And it's an interesting experience for me to be able to see. Because something I said earlier at the beginning of this year, like, where everybody at? No one's out anymore. Where's everybody at? And it's like, you're not out there because what you're doing isn't working. And if you do what I am recommending to do, you think that you're not doing anything, you're not doing enough. But yet the people that I see that are doing what I recommend, they're the ones that are actually out there with their dogs right now. It's fascinating to be able to see.